It was in my aunt's old house near Novosibirsk. I came to sort out the trash after her death. I found a box of VHS tapes in the basement. One had the inscription Masha, 6 years old, birthday. I turned on the old TV. First, the usual home shooting. Cake, balls, guests. Then the camera flickered, showing a window. Behind the glass is an adult man in a fur hat and a military uniform from the 40s. He stood without blinking, holding a doll with gouged eyes in his hands. The aunt on the recording screamed, "Turn it off, for God's sake, turn it off." The tape ended. The next morning, I found the doll under the porch. Her dress smelled of musty shag, with fresh blood. When I tried to burn it, I heard children laughing from the well. The bucket with the chain was gone. At night now I can hear iron scraping stones somewhere deep under the house, and fragments of film floating in puddles by the barn. And yesterday the chalk letters appeared on the wall, "Return the film." But all the cassettes have been in the oven for a week. Except for one thing. I didn't touch the one in the VCR. She's still there. And now, while I'm talking to you, I can hear the old TV's motor starting up in an empty room on the second floor. He's showing me. He's sitting in front of a blue screen. Behind him, the shadows from the tape are moving. Masha in a torn dress is leading that soldier by the hand. His boots leave bloody footprints on the carpet from the 1970s. I was wrong. All these ghosts turned out to be someone's sick game. When I went up to the second floor, the TV was really working, but there was no tape inside. Instead, there was a miniature projector with a timer. Someone switched the tapes while I was rummaging in the basement. The soldier from the recording? He turned out to be Masha's grandfather, who disappeared in 1943 near Stalingrad. His uniform is an exact copy of the uniform of the penal battalion. My aunt had been bringing war artifacts into the house for decades, buying them from black diggers. I found some notes in her diary. That man called again. He says he found his father's personal belongings. He demands twice as much for his silence. The doll with the gouged eyes is part of the collection. It was planted to intimidate me. Is there blood on the dress? Pork. And in the well. There was no bucket. I found an old trench leading to a neighbor's plot. They've been suing my aunt over the land for decades. But the most disgusting thing is the film Masha, 6 years old. I found the real tape in the safe under the floor. There was no birthday party. There was a recording of an interrogation in 1997. An aunt testified against her brother, who was involved in the trafficking of artifacts. Her voice trembled. He killed that relic hunter. He buried it in the forest with the bones of soldiers. Now I understand why the house smelled of shag. Someone is smoking grandfather's tobacco under my windows, leaving boot marks, just like on the film. They think I'll find what my aunt stole. But they're in the house. Trio. Wearing masks. One holds the camera and shoots everything. Another shouts, "Where are the medallions? We know she hid them here." I locked myself in the pantry. I am writing this message while there is a connection. If you hear it, call the police. Coordinates. After 47 minutes. The man's voice, muffled, as if through a cloth. You listen to the archive recording from October 12, 2022. The identity of the deceased has not been established. The house burned down. The cause of the fire is arson. If you have any information, do you think this is the end? The hell with it. My name is Lika. I am the one who died. Burned down in the house? I escaped that night through an underground passage that even your late aunt didn't know about. The fire is a theater for cops and these freaks in masks. The real drama began when I climbed out of the trapdoor right into the cemetery outside the village. There, between the graves of the 40s, stood the same Masha's grandfather, alive, with a Kalashnikov assault rifle model 2023. It turned out he wasn't a ghost. He's just the grandson of that artifact hunter your uncle killed. The guy turned out to be chatty after a bottle of moonshine. Medallions? Yes, these are the keys to the chemical weapons depot near Nizhny Tagil. Your aunt stole them. She wanted to blackmail the generals. But I don't care about their little wars. I was looking for something else, a box marked USSR 1986. According to rumors, there are more than just medallions. My aunt wrote in her diary about samples from Pripyat. I thought it was nonsense, until I found a glass ampoule with yellow powder in the trench by the well. On the label, cesium-137. Sample April 86 inch. Now everyone is chasing me. Bandits with metal detectors and people in chemical protection with the Rosatom logo. Yesterday, at a roadside diner, a guy with a face like a camp doctor sat down with me. You understand, such substances should not fall into the hands. Certain structures. He put a picture in his palm. I'm standing over an open ampoule, and behind me are the shadows from the surveillance cameras. Last night's shooting. I asked, what happens if I pour it into the river? He paled. Don't joke. In '86, your aunt was a nurse in the exclusion zone. She didn't just steal the samples. Now I'm sitting in an abandoned sanatorium near Tyumen. There are 6 similar vials in the basement. On the wall is a map of the USSR with labels: Kiev, Pripyat, Kurgan, and my village near Novosibirsk. It looks like my aunt has created her own network. Tomorrow I'm going to the place where the well used to be. There should be a trapdoor under a layer of rusty helmets and bones. They found me. If you hear sirens wailing in the northwest of Tyumen, you should know that this is not an exercise. After 15 minutes, a new voice, female, against the background of humming engines. Lika is dead. But her notes got to me. If you hear this, look for an old water tower 30 kilometers from Novosibirsk. There. The jammer beeps sharply. The beginning of the audio stream with Morse code / do not search. The tower is not just a storage facility. It's a lighthouse. They laid the transmitters in the foundation back in the 50s to mark the points for deep breath, for emergency burial. But your aunt reprogrammed the system. Medallions are not keys, they are coordinates. Each corresponds. The sound of a gunshot. Scream. The sound of feet on the iron steps. Male voice, in a whisper, with an accent. Hold her. She knows where the samples are. Female voice, intermittently. Lika, if you hear it, look for the numbers on the back of the medallions. Put them in. The sound of broken glass, in the order of Pripyat. The code is 482. A sharp blow. Silence for 3 seconds. Then the creak of the valve turning. New voice, mechanical, distorted. The Chernobyl flower object has been activated. Before detonation, 12 hours. There is a growing hum in the background, similar to a reactor pulse. The recording ends. SMS newsletter, anonymous number, 5:47 a.m. Coordinates 54.8538, 83.1061. Come before dawn. Bring the ampoules, or you'll see the sky burning. Attachment, photo of a water tower illuminated by a crimson glow. There's a fresh chalk inscription on the wall, she's not dead. Shot, Lika in a gas mask makes his way through the ruins of the tower. In his hands is a black suitcase. She stops at the hatch with the symbol Atom 56, inserts the medallions into the slots. Sound, the sound of doors opening. A green glow rises from the hatch. Suddenly Masha's grandfather comes out of the shadows with a machine gun. Lika turns around. I knew you would. Man rips off mask. Face is covered with radiation burn. She's alive. Your aunt. In the mine. But now you're going to take her place. Lika abruptly throws the suitcase through the hatch. A flash of light. The camera lights up. The final .wav file on the dark web forum. Lika's voice, hoarse, background, dripping water. They were wrong. It's not cesium. There are spores in ampoules. Black mushrooms from reactor number 4. They grow through the flesh. My aunt tried to destroy them, but they need them as weapons. If you find the tower, do not go down the hatch. And don't believe the inscriptions. She's not. Coughing with bloody wheezes. She's not human anymore. End of communication.